is a 1954 novel by the Nobel Prize-winning British author William Golding. The plot concerns a group of British boys who are stranded on an uninhabited island and their disastrous attempts to govern themselves. Themes include the tension between groupthink and individuality, between rational and emotional reactions, and between morality and immorality. Sir William Gerald Golding CBEFRSL 19 September 1911 to 19 June 1993, was a British novelist, playwright, and poet. Best known for his debut novel Lord of the Flies 1954, he published another 12 volumes of fiction in his lifetime. In 1980, he was awarded the Booker Prize for Rites of Passage, the first novel in what became his Sea trilogy, To the Ends of the Earth. He was awarded the 1983 Nobel Prize in Literature. The novel, which was Golding's debut, was generally well received. It was named in the Modern Library 100 Best Novels, reaching number 41 on the editor's list, and 25 on the reader's list. In 2003, it was listed at number 70 on the BBC's The Big Read poll, and in 2005 Time magazine named it as one of the 100 best English-language novels published between 1923 and 2005, and included it in its list of the 100 best young adult books of all time. Popular reading in schools, especially in the English-speaking world, Lord of the Flies was ranked third in the nation's favorite books from school in a 2016 UK poll. Published in 1954, Lord of the Flies was Golding's first novel. The concept arose after Golding read what he deemed to be an unrealistic portrayal of stranded children in the youth novel The Coral Island, A Tale of the Pacific Ocean 1857 by R.M. Ballantyne, which includes themes of the civilizing effect of Christianity and the importance of hierarchy and leadership. Golding asked his wife, Anne, if it would be a good idea if I wrote a book about children on an island, children who behave in the way children really would behave. As a result, the novel contains various references to the Coral Island, such as the rescuing naval officer's description of the boys' initial attempts at civilized cooperation as a jolly good show. Like the Coral Island, Golding's three central characters Ralph, Piggy, and Jack have also been interpreted as caricatures of Ballantyne's Coral Island protagonists. The manuscript was rejected by many publishers before finally being accepted by London-based Faber and Faber. An initial rejection by the professional reader, Miss Perkins, at Faber labeled the book an absurd and an interesting fantasy about the explosion of an atomic bomb on the colonies and a group of children who land in the jungle near New Guinea. Rubbish and dull. Pointless. However, Charles Monteith decided to take on the manuscript and worked with Golding to complete several fairly major edits, including the removal of the entire first section of the novel, which had previously described an evacuation from nuclear war. Summary. In the midst of a wartime evacuation, a British aeroplane crashes on or near an isolated island in a remote region of the Pacific Ocean. The only survivors are boys in their middle childhood or predolescence. Two boys named Ralph and Piggy find a conch, which Ralph uses as a horn to convene the survivors to one area. Ralph immediately commands authority over the other boys using the conch, and is elected their chief. He establishes three primary policies: to have fun, to survive, and to constantly maintain a smoke signal that could alert passing ships of their presence. Ralph and two choir boys named Jack and Simon use Piggy's glasses to create the signal fire. The semblance of order quickly deteriorates as the majority of the boys turn idle and develop paranoia towards an imaginary monster they call the Beast, which they all slowly begin to believe exists on the island. Ralph fails to convince the boys that no beast exists, while Jack gains popularity by declaring that he will personally hunt and kill the beast. At one point, Jack summons many of the boys to hunt down a wild pig, drawing away those assigned to maintain the signal fire. The extinguished smoke signal fails to attract a ship passing by the island. Ralph angrily confronts Jack about his failure to maintain the signal, but he is rebuffed by the other boys. A disillusioned Ralph considers relinquishing his position as leader, but is persuaded not to do so by Piggy. One night, an aerial battle occurs near the island while the boys sleep, during which a fighter pilot ejects from his plane and dies in the descent. His body drifts down to the island in his parachute and gets tangled in a tree. Twin boys Sam and Eric see the corpse of the pilot and mistake it for the beast. When Ralph, Jack, and a boy named Roger investigate the corpse, they flee, incorrectly believing the beast is real. Jack calls an assembly and tries to turn the others against Ralph, but initially receives no support. Jack storms off alone to form his own tribe, with the other boys gradually joining him. Simon often ventures out into the island's forest to be alone. One day while he is there, Jack and his followers erect an offering to the beast nearby, a pig's head, mounted on a sharpened stick and swarming with flies. Simon conducts an imaginary dialogue with the head, which he dubs the Lord of the Flies. The head tells Simon that there is no beast on the island, and predicts that the other boys will turn on him. That night, Ralph and Piggy visit Jack's tribe, discovering that they have begun painting their faces and engaging in primitive ritual dances. Simon discovers that the beast is the dead pilot, and rushes down to tell Jack's tribe. The frenzied boys, including Ralph and Piggy, mistake Simon for the beast and beat him to death. Jack and his rebel band decide to steal Piggy's glasses, the only means the boys have of starting a fire. They raid Ralph's camp, take the glasses, and return to their abode on an outcropping called Castle Rock. Deserted by most of his supporters, Ralph journeys to Castle Rock with Piggy, Sam, and Eric in order to confront Jack and retrieve the glasses. The boys reject Ralph, with Roger triggering a trap that kills Piggy and shatters the conch. Ralph manages to escape, but Sam and Eric are tortured by Roger until they agree to join Jack's tribe. Ralph secretly confronts Sam and Eric, who warn him that Jack plans to hunt him like a pig and decapitate him. The following morning, Jack's tribe sets fire to the forest, with Ralph narrowly escaping his hunters. Following a long chase, Ralph trips and falls in front of a uniformed adult British naval officer whose party has landed to investigate the fire. Ralph, Jack, and the other boys erupt into sobs over the end of innocence. The officer expresses his disappointment at seeing British boys exhibiting such feral, warlike behavior before turning to stare awkwardly at his cruiser. Ralph, a fair-haired boy who acts as the leader of the boys upon getting the conch, who tries to maintain order via a smoke signal. Piggy, Ralph's bespectacled, chubby friend who is often ridiculed by his friends. He is a radical thinker who is one of the few biggins to continue supporting Ralph, however he is killed by a boulder thrown by Roger. Jack, an arrogant, red-haired boy who is the leader of a choir and often gets into arguments with Ralph over various issues. He later breaks off from Ralph's community to form his own savage tribe. Simon, a wise, philosophical member of Ralph's choir, he is the only choir boy to support Ralph and Piggy. Upon a hallucination of the Lord of the Flies, he tries to warn the other boys, but is beaten to death. Roger, a quiet boy who later becomes sadistic and Jack's chief torturer, he enjoys bullying Litlins. Samond Eric Samneric, twin Litlins who support Ralph, they later are forced to join Jack's tribe due to Roger's torture methods. The officer, a naval officer who rescues the boys from the island, however he does not understand the savagery of the boys. At an allegorical level, the central theme is the conflicting human impulses toward civilization and social organization, living by rules, peacefully and in harmony, and toward the will to power. Themes include the tension between groupthink and individuality, between rational and emotional reactions, and between morality and immorality. How these play out and how different people feel their influence form a major subtext of Lord of the Flies, with the central themes addressed in an essay by American literary critic Harold Bloom. Lord of the Flies presents a view of humanity unimaginable before the horrors of Nazi Europe, and then plunges into speculations about mankind in the state of nature. Bleak and specific, but universal, fusing rage and grief, Lord of the Flies is both a novel of the 1950s and for all time. Robert McCrum, The Guardian.